Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the quiet little community of Shady Junction. Nestled on the banks of, believe it or not, Shady Creek. We are here today in this court of law to determine what has recently transpired to disrupt the tranquility and peace of this tiny little village. As this is a court of law, we would ask you now all to stand until the judge is seated. Everybody else. The Honorable Amos Hang of High Kramer will be presiding. Oh, you can be seated now.
This is a preliminary hearing. The purpose of this preliminary hearing is to establish beyond a reasonable doubt that on the afternoon of July 28th, Clay Applegate did willfully murder his employer, Alexander Joan F. We will call witnesses, qualified witnesses, who will establish that old Clay here, Clay Applegate, had motive and he had opportunity to commit this crime. And we will recommend that this case be held over to the grand jury. If it please the court, we would like to remind juror number 6 that this is a legal hearing. It's not a knitting circle. Judge, those clicking needles are very distracting. And she sure doesn't look like a conscientious juror to me.
Juror number 6, will you kindly put your knitting away? Miss Peabody, you are the head juror. Can you talk to the 6th juror, please?
Oh, yes, Amos, Your Honor, you were saying?
I said the 6th juror, Mr. Pringle, would like her to put her knitting away. It's very disruptive to her.
Well, tell me, what did he know? There's nothing more soothing to the nerves than knitting. You should try it yourself someday. Bill Pringle makes very soothing for the nerves, and you're far too tense.
You don't even understand. Juror number 6 interrupted my opening address.
No, mercy me. Juror number 6. Oh, that's lucky. Now tell me, why couldn't you call her by her name? Why does everybody have to be identified by a number? That's not the way I taught you.
Well, there's nothing in the statute that says a juror can't knit. But would you please knit a little more quietly?
Of course, Your Honor. It's almost finished anyway. It's a start for Uncle Charlie, see? He feels the cold real bad.
Charlie, you here?
Yes, Your Honor. We had no one to look after him, so we brought him along with us. He won't be any trouble, though, because he sleeps most of the time.
Of course.
Judge, this is delaying the hearing.
Mr. President, I grant that this is highly irregular, but we must remember that Shady Junction is a close-knit community, and we all know each other. And for Miss Peabody over here, just being retired has taught most of us at our local school, and also our children too. So please, cool it.
The state calls as its first witness Gerald Grimshaw.
Hey, that's me.
Calling Gerald Grimshaw to the stand.
Ask the prosecutor to go down, please. I am trying to write this.
You heard that, Bill.
Oh, there you are, Gerald. Gerald, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please be seated.
Wanting to know what's strictly
State your name, please.
What a stupid question. We all know who his name is.
Answer the question. It's for the record.
It's Gerald Grimshaw.
How do you spell that? Betty, you never could spell. How in the world did you ever get that job? Because they look like me, don't they?
Order in the court. Just do the best you can.
Gerald, where were you on the afternoon of July 28th?
I was fishing at Shady Creek.
And for the record, tell us the exact location of Shady Creek.
Oh, come on, Phil, you know where it is. We used to fish there when we played hooky from school. Sorry, Miss Peabody.
Order, please. Henry, will you keep your quiet under control?
That could be difficult, Your Honor. You can see he's all fired up here.
Regardless, for the record, we have to establish the right.
Well, I take a shortcut on my bike. I don't know how you get there by road. But I'll tell you right now, it's darn poor fishing.
And he never could get directions right. Have you ever gone out for a drive with him? You always end up in the bushes.
Yes, that was you too.
Yes.
I thought it was just me, you two-timer. Gerald, how did you happen to be at the scene of the crime?
Well, because I'm the dog catcher, the vet, and printer, anything else that needs doing, also the coroner. And Clay come and told me that Alex had been hurt. So,
What happened then?
well, after Clay had, you know, a little shot, him and I went back to the house. And Mrs. Murphy took us into the living room.
Yes, and didn't even have the decency to take her shoes off. Dirt all over the place.
Well, you should worry. I'm the one that had to clean it up. And I won't tell you where their shoes have been, but boy, it sure stunk.
Oh, it doesn't matter where their feet were.
Well, you didn't have to clean it up.
And, Gerald, what did you do when you got to the house?
Well, Alex was sitting in his chair as if he was asleep.
What happened then?
Well, I shook him, but he didn't wake up on me.
Well, you know, I think he probably just died in his sleep.
What, with a bullet hole in his chest?
Oh, that would make a difference.
And Did you search the premises?
Of course, you think I'm stupid?
Do I put that in the minutes?
Well,
Let's see what the answer is.
and that's the first sensible question I have heard today.
Come on, somebody say something.
Yeah!
Order.
Do I have to write in all their names? I think that should all be stricken from the record.
Oh, come on, Bill. Have you no fun in you? You're nothing but an old fuddy-duddy.
Just answer the question, Gerald.
What was the question?
Did you search the premises?
Oh, yes. And I found a 38 caliber revolver. And it has been recently fired, too. In the garden shed, the thing was.
And was this the gun you found, Gerald?
Yes, it's a handy little thing, isn't it?
Let the record show that the autopsy found that the bullet came from a 38 caliber revolver. I now offer this gun into evidence as Exhibit A, Your Honor. Now, Gerald, you said that you found the gun in the garden shed. Whose garden shed?
His garden shed.
Objection, Your Honor. The fact that the gun was found in my client's garden shed is highly inconclusive and does not prove positive ownership.
Ah, you son of Henry, you and your big words.
Order. Order. Now proceed, Mr. Pringle.
I have no further questions.
I have no question, Your Honor.
The witness may now step down.
Thank you.
Amos,
Yes, yes, what is it, Mary Lou?
Julius Caesar is missing.
Oh, for goodness sake. Call for Julius Caesar.
Julius Caesar to the stand, please. Julius Caesar.
Julius Caesar is my dog.
Oh dear, it's time for his walk. If we don't hurry, he'll still have an accident.
Too late now. There's a great big puddle over here. And
I'm not cleaning up that mess.
Time for your walk.
well, it's not my job description. I do windows, but I don't clean up after dogs.
It's all right, I'm going to take him home now.
Bye, Julie. Oh, my pants. They're wet to the knees. Keep wearing them, please.
This is very disturbing, Your Honor. Do you remember the old rule about no old dogs allowed in this courtroom unless they've been house trained?
Now, excuse me, everybody, but, Your Honor, there is a question I would like to ask.
Objection. Well, it's not unusual for a juror to seek clarification. Does your question have a direct bearing on Gerald's testimony?
I certainly hope so. Somebody can straighten him out.
Order, please.
I
Miss
was-
Peabody, what were you saying?
As I was trying to say, if I were a murderer and I wanted to dispose of the murder weapon, I would throw it in the creek. I would put it in my tool shed where it could be found.
It is a garden shed, not a tool shed.
Who cares?
You should see the plants he has in there.
You said he planted it there?
No, I said he has plants in there.
What do I put down? Tool or garden? Well, why don't we plant? Well, you know, somebody else could have planted it there to throw suspicion on Clay.
Priscilla, how smart you are. You know, I believe you're right. Well, you know, just leave it to Priscilla here to find the fly in the ointment. There's no flies on her.
Well, thank you, Mrs. Jones. You're so kind, but to you it's Miss Peabody, if you don't mind. But tell me, how did your mother get on with that home remedy for her lumbago, the one I gave her?
You know, she's as good as new. Yesterday she went out and she painted the whole side of the barn.
No, it's true. Oh, how wonderful. Well, you know, there's a lot more where that came from. I'll be happy to get it for you.
Well, that's silence in the court. There will be no more outbursts from the jury.
He does like that.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Like her head.
I call my next witness, Hilda Haywood.
Calling Hilda Haywood to the stand.
You probably know that. Ooh, Hilda, nice handbag. Do you like that? Oh, I got that.
Lady! Would you like to step up here, Hilda? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I know all that.
So help you God?
Yes, of course.
Please be seated.
Please state your name and profession.
My name is Hilda Haywood, and I was Mr. Thorndyke's personal and private secretary for 25 years. And that's all I want.
And Miss Haywood, could you tell us where you live, please?
Yep. I resided in the house. That way I was always on call should Mr. Thorndike need me.
And who else lives in the house?
Mrs. Murphy, Dr. Jones came in to clean. Old Clay would come in for tea sometimes and bring in the fresh vegetables.
And did Mr. Thorndike have regular visitors? Family, friends? Anybody else?
Well, he was a quiet man. Kept himself to himself, you know what I mean. But he did have a woman who visited him quite often.
Oh, and who was that?
Remember, you're under oath.
It was Betty Applegate.
Wow. Now, we're getting somewhere. We're jealous.
Now you listen here, Phil Pringle. There's nothing to be jealous about. How dare you? I'm not putting that in the record. Clay wouldn't hurt anyone.
I didn't kill him.
Now, Miss Haywood, I believe you handled Mr. Thorndike's legal affairs. Is that correct?
Affair? Who's having an affair? Can I get something?
No. Come back to sleep, man. Come back to sleep. Yes, I am the executrix of the estate.
So then you knew he was changing his will.
Of course. I knew everything about the man.
Of course she knew. The woman had a crush on him. Ask anybody. Ask Mrs. Hardwick back here. She knows everything that goes on in the village. She knows all the gossip. The very idea. Just because I'm interested in everybody doesn't mean I'm a gossip.
Oh, yeah?
Really?
Order, order. Now, answer the question.
What was the question?
Darn it, find out.
Oh, yes, here it is. Okay. Mr. Thorndike told you he was changing his will? Yes. He asked me to have old Clay go into town and return with his lawyer.
And did he?
Not to my knowledge.
No further questions. Oh, by the way, who found the deceased?
She did.
Let the record show that the witness is pointing at Mrs. Murphy.
Oh, you know, I've sat here so long, my thighs don't even know each other. Oh, don't write that down. I don't want everybody to know that my thighs.
They already do. Why, Mrs. Hardwick catches on fast.
Joan, you now step down.
Your next witness, please. We'll have to adjourn for lunch. We'll have to go to the party.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you know the drill. All rise. Judge Amos Hang 'em High Kramer is still presiding. Sit down again, please.
Where's the program?
Hey, like your socks.
I must apologize for the sudden departure. Luckily, little damage was done, and we were able to put the fire out.
I call Flossie Jones to the stand.
Oh, let's watch it go.
That's me, that's me.
Boy, look at those knives.
Hand in the Bible. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yeah,
Right,
sure I
there you
do. Stand your head a little.
State your name and position in the house.
Well, the name you know. And I was cleaning lady, cook, and anything else that had to be done in that house, why, I'm the one that had to do it.
And do you know the defendant here?
Everybody knows old Clay. Hi, Clay. And you know, he's such a good man. He'd bring the vegetables every weekend, and he'd even let me take some home with me.
Do you, think he killed Mr. Thorndyke?
I object. That would be hearsay.
I object. That would be my question.
Okay, then. Who do you think killed Mr. Thorndyke?
Well, if you really want to know,
Come on, Henry. You know you can't do that. If you can't figure it out, call your next witness.
Flossie, you may step down.
I had more I wanted to say, you know.
I call Betty Applegate to the stand.
Betty Applegate to the stand, please.
You can't call me, I'm the typist.
Now look,
I have to take the notes.
now look, Betty. You've been called. Can anyone else take notes?
I can write.
Good then, take over from Mrs. Applegate while she's on the stand.
Henry, you're getting carried away. I have to swear them in first. Betty.
Well, for goodness sakes, get on with it. I'm going to miss my supper.
Trying to. Betty, do you swear? Do you swear? Do you swear to tell the truth? The whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Oh, I do.
Well, sit down.
So, you live in the same house as old Clay here.
Right, take it easy on the old Clay.
Well, you ain't getting any younger, are you? How long you lived in the house?
Well, Mr. and Mrs. Applegate took me in when my parents were killed in a car crash when I was about 3 years old.
And your name again is?
Becky Applegate, B-E-T-T-Y-A-P-E-L-G-A-I-T. I already told you that.
Oh, of course. They adopted you.
No, heavens, no. Clay and I were married 32 years ago.
Married? I thought he was your brother. Well, now, this could make a difference. Were you having an affair with Mr. Thorndyke?
Certainly not. I don't know where you would get an idea like that. I've always been faithful to my Clay. We were on very friendly terms, though. He was a very lonely man, and he needed someone to talk to. And we got on very well together.
And did you know he was changing his will?
Well, I remember Clay saying something about going for a lawyer, but it wouldn't affect me. He did say Clay would have no worries either for his long service.
But you weren't expecting him. Well, according to his bank records, there's been several checks made out in your name.
I knew there was something going on there. He had a door closed and she was in that room with him.
Why, help, I believe you're guilty. How dare you? Well, you are right, though. We do work behind closed doors. And he wanted what I was doing to be kept a secret.
And what was that secret?
You have to tell the truth, Betty. I mean, Mrs. Applegate.
Well, if you must know, I was doing his typing. He was writing his memoirs, you know. I was the only one he trusted to keep his secret. And that is why he was paying me.
You tell him, Betty, all them old gossips.
You may step down and resume taking your notes.
You can't even write.
But at least I can spell. Isn't that right, Miss Peabody? Well, how that couldn't spell. Can I be excused? I have to go to their supper. Chicken on Tuesday.
How about fish? You won't find it so get it from Shady Creek, it's all.
Oh, for goodness sakes, just go home and surprise them.
That's a good idea. I'll go home and look in the freezer.
Oh, hey,
thought we were going to go through the whole week's menu. Oh, Mary Lou, please hurry up. You're just wasting time. Some of us have a home to go to, you know.
Oh, of course. I have to take Judy's pizza home anyway.
Bye, Mary Lou.
Bye.
Wake up for that.
Your next witness, please.
I call Clay Applegate to the stand.
Calling Clay Applegate to the stand.
Call him. I haven't questioned him yet.
He can call who he wants to. You just want me to go to jail, you big bolt.
Boys! Boys, stop that fighting. That's just what it was like when they were in school. Always fighting and keep sending them to different corners. I was stressed. It was stressful.
Clay. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and God help you if you don't? Sit down.
You were Mr. Thorndyke's gardener. You lived in the cottage and took some of your meals in the big house, right?
Yep.
And how long were you in Mr. Thorndyke's employment?
Oh, ever since I was a lad.
I can vouch for that. He was always playing hooky from school, trying to make extra money because there was 13 in the family, you know. They were always sniffling.
And how many years?
We were sniffling.
No. How many years were you in Mr. Thorndyke's employment?
What would you say, Miss Peabody? 47 years?
Yep.
That's a long time to work for someone. You must have had some disagreements and arguments in that time.
Objection. He's leading the witness.
Wait, taking hand. Oh, I see what you mean. Rephrase your question, please, and don't lead the witness.
What was your relationship with Mr. Thorndyke?
Oh, we had our ups and downs, but he wasn't a gardener, so I never paid any attention to him.
And do you own a gun?
Nope.
Well, in that case, have you ever seen this gun?
Yep.
Won't you tell us where?
Oh, Mr. Thorndyke showed it to me. He was robbed 10 years ago. So I drove him to town to buy a gun. Don't like guns.
But did you know where he kept it?
Yep.
Well, for goodness sakes, tell us.
Don't you shout at my Clay. He'll answer when he's good and ready.
And when will that be? Some of us have a home to go to, you know.
Kept it in the drawer beside his bed.
Did anyone else know about the gun?
Yep.
And who might that be?
Her, and her.
Let the record show that the prisoner is pointing at Hilda Haywood, Mrs. Murphy, and the floozy Flossie Jones. Oh, one last question. Did you kill Mr. Thorndyke? Nope. You may now step down.
So, maybe we should have a stay-on. I think that really is it. What do you know about it? I think the spirits could come back and visit their home. You shouldn't condemn something you don't know anything about, lady. Well, I don't know, but I hope they don't come back while I'm around. By the way, how are your bunions? Oh, what's that got to do with it? Well, they must be throbbing pretty bad something stupid like a seance. Please, please, we can't have any more interruptions. Do you have any more witnesses?
Your Honor, I call Mrs. Murphy to the stand.
Calling Mrs. Murphy to the stand, please. Mrs. Murphy, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please be seated.
State your name and profession.
My name is Mary Murphy, and I was Mr. Thorndyke's housekeeper.
And how long were you in Mr. Thorndyke's employment?
3 years.
And in that 3 years, how well did you know Mr. Thorndyke?
Well, he was a very passionate and friendly person. He was very good to me, and I enjoyed his company.
She sure did. Many a cleanup I had to do in the living room after their little taste of the cake.
You know, this gets more interesting by the month. Better than myself.
Order in the court.
Did you know Mr. Thorndyke had a gun?
Yes, he showed it to me once when we were in the bedroom.
I think she was in the bedroom more than once.
Oh, really? Fascinating.
Shady, please. Now, did you know Mr. Thorndyke was going to change his will?
Yes, I begged him not to. I was an outsider, and the village people did not make me very welcome. He asked me to marry him, and we were going to set the date this weekend.
He would never have married you. I love that man. I worked for him. I devoted my life to him. I devoted my life to him, and then she turned up. That's all right. If you have no more questions, Henry, then Mrs. Murphy, take them. Any more witnesses?
Yes, Your Honor. I would like to recall Hilda Haywood to the stand.
Hilda Haywood to the stand, please.
You tell them, Hilda. You get it all.
Now remember, Hilda, you are still under oath. You're still under oath.
Miss Haywood, could you tell me whose names were in the will?
Yes, there was myself, Lots Jones, and Clay Applegate.
So then each of you had a vote.
Don't be ridiculous, Phil. Can you see any of those three pulling a gun? Of course not, eh?
Your turn, Henry. If there weren't so many interruptions around here, I could sing.
Oh, that's a funny one.
Well, let's see. Who had the most to lose?
Well, Clay and I were going to be set up for life with a monthly pension. Lottie was to get a lump sum. She's much older, you know. And more than to be around with collection of the pension.
If I could get my hands on that man right now, I tell you,
It's a bit late now, Mrs. Jones, but it's late now.
Now, are you saying that you shot Mr. Thorndyke?
Oh, no, she didn't.
Well, then, who did?
Well,
Well, this is a real mess. Sorry about that, Mr. Prosecutor, but this is a real mess. You know, come on, Amos. Wrap this thing up, please.
I would if I could, but I'm so confused.
I don't know what to write down here anymore. Well, I think it was Clay. He's not that bright. He didn't even hide the gun.
Order! Down, boys! How dare you accuse my client?
Prosecutor.
Oh. All right. So, now, Hilda, did you shoot Mr. Thorndyke?
No, if I was going to shoot anybody, it would have been her. And then I would have had him and the money too.
Oh dear. I think we'll have to take this to higher authority.
You're not gonna call your mother again, are you?
Oh, you Ben. What do you know?
It's all quite simple if you only think about it.
Oh, Patch, you always did let your imagination run away with you, you know. Always.
Well, I know it wasn't my Clay.
Well, I don't know. I think he could take quite violent if he was upset.
Clay, good grief. He can't even take a fish off the hook. He brings up if he sees blood.
Remember, I am the judge.
Well, what's the verdict?
Do you have any thoughts on Miss Peabody?
Oh, she's got lots of thoughts to be done.
Just a minute, Judge, just a minute. How much of this am I supposed to take down here?
Well, I was going to say, I forget. All right, take a moment. I'm not sure, but maybe we should find out who didn't do it. Now, Henry, you're the defense. Go for it.
Well, it ain't old Clay here.
Henry, your English is terrible. You don't say it ain't old Clay. You say it is not old Clay.
Oh, good golly, Priscilla, sit down. This is no time for an English lesson.
Oh, you
Well, sorry, Miss Peabody. Well, it's not old Clay.
a little bit better. Not much, though.
Lottie knew she was getting a lump sum. And Hilda, she loved the man. So, there's only one person left. And that's Mrs. Murphy.
I would like to recall...
And she was going to marry him. So where do we go from here?
I would like to recall Mrs. Murphy to the stand.
Hilda, you may step down. Mrs. Murphy, please return to the stand. Mrs. Murphy, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please be seated.
Oh, I'm sorry. Just quit swearing her in. She's done all that already. My stomach started to growl.
That's what's making all that darn noise.
Mrs. Murphy, did you kill Alexander Thorndyke?
Well, I had no references. So Mr. Thorndyke made some inquiries and discovered that I had a police record. And he was going to turn me in.
You weren't going to marry him, were you?
Of course not. I had my eye on Gerald. But he was so busy with his other lady friends, he didn't even know I existed.
Gee, this is getting so exciting.
So
Does all this go on record, Amos?
No, no, Betty. Don't interrupt. I'm just beginning to enjoy this.
This mine's so sweet of her wife, and now I'm never gonna know how it is. Oh dear, Mrs. Murphy, tell us what happened.
Well, I went upstairs and got the gun. I told Mr. Thorndyke, unless he promised not to go to the police, I would shoot him. He laughed and said, go ahead and shoot, because I am going to the police. He tried to take the gun away. He grabbed my arm. We struggled. That is when the gun went off. Mr. Clement, I didn't mean to kill him. Okay, Henry, she's all yours.
You said you had a police record. Would you like to tell us what it is?
Well, it was called self-defense when my first husband died. Death. My second husband was killed. At the moment, I'm out on bail. Until they find my third husband. He's here, somehow.
Boy, did I ever have a narrow escape, and she had her eye on me.
Your Honor, I would like the case against my client dismissed, and Mrs. Murphy taken into custody for further questioning.
Please, case dismissed against Queen. Bailiff, take Mr. Murphy into custody.
Mrs. Murphy, please come with me. Mrs. Murphy?
No, don't come near me.
Yes, actually, I'm going to sing now. Okay, I'd like to present the cast to you. Mrs. Hardwick, Madge Thompson. Mrs. Hardwick, Madge Thompson. Played by Ruth Greenfield, Marilyn Banks, and Ramona Davies. Floozy Jones, oh sorry, Flossie Jones, Hilda Haywood, Carol Stinson, played by Sylvia Knight, Norma Jarvis, Bill Headley. Betty Applegate and Mary Lou Kramer, played by Hazel Mainwaring and Teresa Thompson. Miss Peabody and Uncle Charlie, played by Lillian Lynn and Howard Tan. Thank you, Uncle Charlie. Prosecutor
prisoner, and defense, played by Marilyn Perry, Gord Joyce, and Bob McGill. Bailiff and judge, played by Bob Egan and Alan Pate. The videographer, Heather Johnston. Thank you, Heather. Props, Ron Johnston and Lila McGill. Thank you very much. And written, produced, and directed by Joan Johnston. I would like to call on one of the cast members, Lillian Lynn, to do a presentation to Joan. Lillian, can I take the hat off? I'm sure that's all you're going to take off.
Joan, you keep saying this is going to be the last one, but we hope it is, right? Because you're a very special person, and from a very special cast, a very special person, we have this.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's always a great pleasure to have a cast like this. They're a wonderful bunch of people, they're a wonderful bunch of volunteers. They give a lot of their time, and they don't only build the stage, they build the props not very well.
And I thought it was my gift.
They put up the curtains, they do everything, and they really are great. Without them, you wouldn't have a drama club. We thank the staff, we thank Fred who puts the chairs in for us. We'd like to thank the people who helped in the cafeteria. And we'd like to thank you, the audience, because without your support, what's the sense of having a drama club? This is our last performance, and again, it's been a great success. And I thank you very much, and thank you all for coming.
Yes, this is Joan's last performance for this year.
I haven't done through all my wigs yet.
I know as staff, we would like to thank Joan and all the cast and crew members and volunteers for making the last 2 Fridays such a success. And I tell you, as staff, really, it's not a lot of work for us. When Joan says they do it all themselves, she really means they do it all themselves. They actually prefer us to keep right out of it because, as they say, we're just maybe a little incompetent. So, on behalf of staff, thank you very much. We really appreciate it. You certainly are good ambassadors for the center here, and I know everyone has enjoyed it, so thank you very much.
All drive safely home, and remember, who knows what happens next year.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just, right, make safe. Okay, that's good, and...
Texan senior citizen.
And more. Stay here. Don't go away. It's on panorama. It's on panorama, it's power on.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay. Oh, God, you can't do, wow.
Get it?
This is high tech, you get ahead.
There, get Ronnie.
Hold it.
There.
Right there's good.
That's the boy.
Yeah, that's perfect. Look at this way, Uncle Charlie.
Hi.
I want regular if you can you?
One regular for sure. What's his hips, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and no talking, please, and...
Excellent.
Got it?